Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are taking a deeper dive into the relationship of Allan and Madison and sharing our thoughts.
Listen, I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment. We have been doing these deep dives. Check out our other deep dives as well as the reviews. We're going to try to touch on every couple, at least the interesting parts. It just gives people our opinions about each one that is not said in the review, because guess what? If I gave it in a review, I'd still be talking.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Blair, walk us through this, please.
So my thoughts were, I don't want Allan and Madison to fly under the radar. Just because Madison is polite and she isn't as mean as Michelle or as disrespectful as Ikechi, I think there are some points that we can draw from both of them on ways that they could improve in their efforts in this relationship if they would have wanted to make it work. But I will say Madison has no intention of making this work.
Okay.
So I'll lay the groundwork for that.
Okay.
But I do want to get your opinion.
Help me.
Being that we see where they are now versus where they began, where do you think the disconnect started?
Ooh, that's a good question, because if I take in all the information that was given to me, I think at the wedding, Allan says something across the lines of, hey, we was making out, we was kissing, you saw that she was kind of like happy, you kind of saw that party girl thing, and then it's like a couple days later in the honeymoon, it almost like switched off in a way. So I would say, when did it take place? I'd probably say it took place probably once she saw the other couples. I'll probably say that.
And was it because she saw David and was attracted, or what about seeing the other couples?
I that's the only thing I can think of, because based off of the information that was given to us, that they will wake up and go to the gym. You get what I'm saying? I think Juan would sometimes tag along, but Allan wasn't there, right? So based on what was shown to us, I don't know what about the other couples, even what we hear currently about how Allan even said it in the after party, and he said it in the episode, but Dr. Pepper wanted to talk about kids, right? Was that, like, you know, the way she hugs David, right? And I think based on what we think is going to happen on the show, there's something there, but I really can't pinpoint when her disconnect with Allan was. I don't know. I don't know if she just woke up the next day sober, maybe after like this big wedding, and she was like, I really don't like the man I have. He's kind of corny. But we saw throughout the honeymoon her basically stripping him down piece by piece by piece. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint when. But I'm gonna go probably like 2 days, 3 days, and probably when she saw the other couples, because she's like, look at my guy and look at, like, he's corny, and David's probably easy to talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that I think it happened during the honeymoon. I would agree with you there. I think that it was probably a combination of things, because I will say at the wedding, it seemed like they were clicking. I really thought they were. And part of it could have been that Madison was a little bit soft. She was happy to be at a party, was excited, you know, to have her married at first sight moment. And, you know, her and Allan, they were having good conversation. They have similar backgrounds when it comes to work. So it seemed like there was a lot that they could have gotten along and talked about and had in common. So, but I think when it came to the honeymoon, even the night of, really, she was not into his boxers. And as shallow and as small as that might seem, I think that Madison still has a little bit of that more important as far as the physical attractiveness versus the content of someone's character. Okay. And I think that instead of being able to overlook some of those small things, she was building up kind of like judgment against maybe why she's not into him. And it wasn't as visceral as Michelle crying in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. At her wedding. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that's where I started to see the coldness in the wall start to build up when it was kind of like one small thing after another. And especially when we talked about how her attraction for Allan wasn't there. He's not her typical type. It seemed like maybe she thought that those were small things that she wouldn't necessarily have an issue with getting over as hurdles. But I think that mentally, I don't think she's there to be able to look over those things. But I will say that during the honeymoon, it was the clothes that she mentioned. I do think that seeing David might have been more of her physical type. And I'm just going to put it out there. I think David and Madison are the ones who do the couple swap. If I'm wrong,
I hope it's not. Surprise me. You know what I'm saying? Surprise me with somebody else.
If I'm wrong, I will correct myself. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's a connection there that started being built over the honeymoon. And I think there started to be a comparison of David and Allan in her mind of, well, I can go to the gym with him and I can have these conversations with him. And Allan, it seems like you're kind of trying to be people pleasing and a little too nice and all this type of stuff. But I think what Madison is missing is that all the husbands, even Akechi at this point, was trying to put on their best effort the first few days. And for some reason, Madison took it as him possibly being a pushover. And I thought that wasn't a fair assessment because she didn't know him at that point.
No.
And then I also think that when it came to Allan, his just ability to push back against some of the things that she was saying, because he was saying that, I do like to be around my friends and family. I do like to make people happy and, all these types of things. I think that was just further building her case of, he probably isn't my type. So,
See, here's the thing, right? I like that you mentioned the boxers because when I already don't like you, I will nitpick you to death. Right. So the fact that she's talking about boxers that you don't even see, you get like boxers are an undergarment. You know what I'm saying? So like you won't even see them. If I'm wearing them to bed, you won't even see it then because I'm going to bed. Right. Yeah. So it's interesting that you say everything that you said because he is a pushover. If I was to say so, right. Somebody says something in our comments and I want to give them their respect. I wish I can remember your name, but I see the comment, right? They was commenting on what you said, Blair, and y'all kind of did a tag team of what you said in the video and how this person compounded what you said in the comments.
Okay.
He is a pushover, but I think Allan has been taking the work and doing the hard work of trying not to be that. And when he actually, this is what the person said, when he actually built the courage to actually say what he is feeling about Madison, about like, hey, I feel like you're not attracted to me. I look and I see you with David, the way you hug David, and I just want you to hug me like that. When he actually built the courage to be transparent and to be vulnerable in that moment, he was also shut down. And we wasn't going to talk about that. Like, okay, good. We ain't going to talk about that. So tell me about how you was as a kid with Dr. Pepper, and that is one ball that Dr. Pepper whiffed on. She swung and she came in there with an agenda. I have no problem with people coming in there with an agenda, but you got to be able to be fluid and be like, you know what? I'm gonna table this conversation for later, and I want to address the main concern that he has. And I think whenever and maybe this could be a childhood thing, whenever he actually builds up the courage to address what the issue is, it's never addressed. Like, not even with the professionals.
And that wasn't fair. Not
with the professionals, or I should say the professional with Dr. Pepper, not with Madison. You get what I'm saying? So he finds himself, and I think he is finding himself in a place, if I was to give an illustration, where the wall's just closing in on him. It's like he don't know what to do. You know what? I'm gonna drink and drive. I mean, allegedly. I don't know if Allan was drunk or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, man, you definitely was reading the script of a drunk person. You know what I mean? Allegedly. But my thing is, I really don't know what more Allan can do. You are who you are. You get what I'm saying? And I don't think he is so much of a pushover. Yes, I have said throughout the season, Allan, I need you to actually like have some backbone with dealing with Madison, because I actually believe Madison is the second villain on the show. A lot of people will put Akechi as number one, of course. Congratulations to Akechi, you're villain number one. And then people will put Michelle as number two. I would put Madison as number two, right? I just think she does it better than Michelle. We see what Michelle is mad about, and it has been confirmed in the last episode that, you know, he gonna set me back 10 years. And I don't want to make this a Michelle and Madison thing, but or rather a Michelle or David thing. But the whole point about it is everybody keep talking about David was never poor. He went to a private school that his mama paid for. So like for him, he's poor. You get what I'm saying? But that is nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying, but for Madison, she is giving false hope. If you just give me compliments, if you just do this, if you just do all these things, while telling him in the same breath, don't do that William Shakespeare crap.
Exactly.
But because she's not mean, and because she's not passive, and things of that nature, it don't come off as if, like, you know, oh, Madison is basically a terrorist. I think she is the second villain of the show. Any thoughts?
Yeah, my other thoughts are with Madison. How do I say it?
Say it raw.
Okay. I guess my thing is when you're asking Allan to do all these different things to kind of get to that not attractability, but to become more attractive to you, what are you getting at is my point, is kind of my whole point. Do you think that by asking him to do these things that he will become more attractive to you? Or are you saying that just to give him something to do so you can go hang out with David? Because I'm like, the man is going to the gym. Have you been to the gym with him yet? Like,
except that one time on camera,
yeah,
and things like that.
And that's my kind of case with Madison, is like, you're asking for him to meet you at this certain level, but where is your effort? Even I can't get over the fact that it was the first night you decided to go out with your friends.
Come on,
had our man in the hot tub by himself, talking to some other people who live in the building, which he said he had a great time, but he would have wanted to be with his wife.
And that's 100%. I'm happy you brought that up. And I'm mad at Allan. During their first meetup, he did not bring that up.
And that was my thing with Allan too, to where I felt like I would have liked to see him stand up for himself a little bit, because he mentioned it, but he told her it wasn't a big deal.
What?
And I'm like, Allan, let it be a big deal.
Yeah.
Let it be something to where, hey, we need to sit down, we need to talk, or do you think we can go out for lunch? Bring it up and say, hey, that rubbed me the wrong way. And I'll be honest, I think that at that point, Madison had pretty much knew in her head that it was a no. So I don't know how much convincing or communication Allan could have done to change her mind.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see him try. Just the same way, like when I was saying during the I don't know if I said it on here, but when they were playing Twister and, she was saying like, oh, like you could have touched me and, I wouldn't have minded, or whatever the case may be, then I think that Allan, you kind of got to put yourself out there a little bit to get rejected. And rejection isn't the end of the day, but at least you know where you stand.
Yeah.
And Madison, from what she was saying, if she really meant what she was saying, is that if you would have done it, then maybe that would have built a little bit more attraction to her, instead of seeing you as this pushover character that she created in her mind. Because I don't feel like Allan is a pushover. I think that he was trying to be careful. He didn't know this girl.
Yeah.
He was trying to be careful in his interactions with her and trying to make her feel comfortable, which I think that is very like respectable and responsible. But I do think that it wasn't enough of him putting himself out there. If I could compare it to Camille and Thomas, Camille was saying it'd be nice if he smacked me on the butt here and there.
Okay.
And she even told Thomas, you can be a little bit more forward in the way that you're coming, as far as like just touching me and just being around me.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that you have an attraction for me. Now Madison, I don't know if she felt that way, but I would have liked to see Allan just try a little bit and just see exactly where he stood versus being scared to make a move.
Here's the thing, right? I think we are too harsh. And when I say harsh, on judging what we see on the camera itself, on the TV itself.
Okay.
I think a lot of how Allan approached Madison is based on the things we don't see.
Okay.
So when the camera's rolling and it's time to play Twister because it's going to be filmed, I think Madison put on her performative, like, I'm trying, I'm in this marriage. But in the meantime, behind the scenes, like, she's not there. Whenever they go out to the bar, or like whenever they just go out in public, she's not with him. Like, even though they came together, she's not with him.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of behind the scene truth that Allan is actually operating in, that when it's time to come on camera, just like how everybody come on camera, and whenever they talk to the experts, Michelle's talking to the expert. Oh, me and David is progressing. We talk for 20 minutes, with Madison. Like, it's just, it's my mom, and me and my mom had a terrible, it's like, all right, what do that got to do with the question that Allan just asked you directly? Like, like, what is something attractive about me? Well, I said the other day you had a nice shirt. It's like, no. You probably did that because you knew that it's time to perform. We're going to meet with the experts, and you just want to build your case of why why you're trying and things of that nature. But we hear you nitpicking him. We hear you insulting him. We hear you actually like giving him mixed signals throughout the whole time. So I can understand why he feels like frustrated. Because the whole point about it is he said something even during that Twister thing or even during the vow thing, right? To where there was a picture of them kissing and he said something like, I wish we can get back to that.
Yeah.
Meaning that maybe the only time they kiss since that time is probably that at the wedding, right? But whole time you got Allen in the corner feeling some type of way about hugs. That means there's a certain closeness and intimacy that he is not getting from Madison or even effort from Madison to where he's jealous at David for a hug.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, there's a lot of, I think, off-camera things she's doing. A lot of things to strip at his confidence to where, like, now he's always in a position of, you know what would help me, Allen? If I get more compliments. Have he been insulting you the whole time?
Right.
I just need some more words of affirmation. That will help me get comfortable and help me open up. What? Like, no, I think Madison is the ultimate performer on this show, where I think she's the second villain on the show, to be honest. Now, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I wanted to add is that Madison, as we saw in one of her talks with the experts, is that she does have a history of not putting her partners as a priority.
Yeah.
And I think that in this type of experiment, that your partner has to be your primary priority because you're trying to get to know this person. You're trying to kind of vet them out to see if after 8 weeks you want to be with them.
Yeah.
And it seems like her friends and the bar and the sports games and all these things have been her priority, which has been her life prior to this. But she didn't shift her priority to her partner to really invest in this process.
That's right.
I think that she's here going along to get along, hanging out with him. I will say I did like the surprise birthday she threw for him, for their home warming type party or whatever.
That was filmed.
Yeah, which it was filmed. But just kind of speaking on what I see is that I think that she's had this problem before Allen, and because she didn't know how to prioritize a partner, she's not going to prioritize a stranger husband. Like, he's going to be lower on the totem pole when it comes to her life, even though he should be her primary focus. And then when we get into the conversation with Dr. Pepper, I want to move along there. And he is trying to ask her these questions of, do you find anything attractive about me? Like, what basically talk plain to me, Sheldon. You know what I'm saying? And Madison is saying that those are weird questions. Why are you being evasive? like why are you being this way? I feel like Madison, even when they were sitting down talk at the when they were having their 1 month anniversary, and he was trying to get a little bit from her as far as the status of their relationship, and she was saying, well, I don't want to do it today, it's our anniversary, do we really want to have that conversation today? And the thing is like, I think Allen is looking for these tidbits of information to actually gauge where they are, because it's hard for him to distinguish that based off of what she's asking him to do. He's doing it, but it doesn't seem to get him any further.
Facts.
And our man is about to blow a gasket.
And time is running out. You got to understand, this is not an unlimited show. You're right.
Yeah. So I definitely understand Allen's frustration. I'm glad that he's speaking up. And I wish, just touching on the experts, that they would assist and be supportive in him getting down to what Madison's holdup is. And I see Dr. Pepper digging into the childhood history and she's saying, well, she's likes certain things and there's certain things she doesn't like, so stop doing the things she don't like. And and I think that there are definitely things that you have to shift and mold when you're getting into a relationship and actually forming a union with somebody. But if you're doing those things and that person is giving you nothing in return, it's a waste.
You said it so perfectly. Can I ask you a question, Blair?
Yeah.
Can we go deeper? I just want to go deeper for 10 more minutes of your time, and then I'll let y'all go. Okay. Something that Madison said, which is kind of the underbelly, I say the underbelly theme of the show with these contestants. Let me take MM and Ikechi out of this. This is one thing that MM and Ikechi have nothing to do with. Camille and Thomas. David and Michelle. Madison and Allen. Allen was talking to us, and when I say us, he was talking to the people watching the show, and he said, I thought I think I am a pretty boy, based off of what Madison said. Madison said, usually I'm into pretty boys, right? Just off of that statement alone, you being a woman, what would you say from your definition, what is a pretty boy?
I think it's just a certain look.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
Michelle is worried about how things look. Optics.
Okay.
Right? That's why she comes on TV and she always talking about how, I worked this hard and I got a stylist here, even though she's not a stylist. She's just a regular person that I think they just put stylist on her name. She's worried about the look of things, right? Camille, in the earlier parts of the season and things of that nature, it's just like, where's that thug? The look of it. Like Thomas, I think eventually Camille finally got past her own way and start looking at how things look with Thomas and things of that nature and see, there may be a man in here that I may fall in love with, right? I think Michelle knew that, David ain't got no money, so I'm gonna move past that, right? But there's something that she said to your point, Madison, I'm usually into pretty boys. And I think this is the underbelly of the show. A lot of these people are worried about optics and how things look. And going to what Blair said in the early parts of this season, how are you worried about how things look, but you sign up for Married at First Sight? If there's anything that you give up at Married at First Sight, it's your sight.
Exactly.
Exactly. So the whole point that Allan don't look like someone that he's corny, he's quirky. You know what I mean? Look at everything about Allan before she got to the person. She judged the person based on the optics that she's seen, based on the boxes, the clothes, and things of that nature, but not his character. She didn't even get a chance to see a character. So now anything in his character is just gonna confirm the misjudgment that she made based on the optics, right? The same thing with Camille and Thomas, and now she gotta actually redo the work and put in more work and things of that nature because they started so behind, right? And David and Michelle, I know people in the comments are trying to say, oh no, David's not broke, and David said he's gonna make the same amount of money as Michelle. Yes, with 2 jobs compared to the 1 job
and a possible promotion.
Yeah, so it's like David and Michelle is a different case, right?
Yes.
But Michelle is worried about the optics, though. Okay. So what you said in the episode about basically, David is broken, Michelle is broken. Check out that deep dive that we did, right? So do you think, based on her saying that I'm into pretty boys, I'm usually into pretty boys, right, that maybe there's some self-esteem issues for herself when it comes to how she view herself? That's why she is so into fitness and things like that, because she can control that, I'm fit and things of that nature. And guess what? I'm into pretty boys because he could be pretty enough for both of us, right?
Well, I wouldn't say there might be some insecurities there, but I don't think that they are, how do I say it? I think that she doesn't want to not be on her A game. I'll put it that way. Okay. I think that she is feeling secure in her body and how she looks right now. But I feel like if she were to slip at all, I think that would probably take a toll on her mental. So I think that's why she is as consistent and as dedicated as she is into her fitness, even her hair, and hey, white viewers, white women's, I don't know much about y'all's hair type things, but from what I've seen, on the internet, those bleach blonde and the blondes is a lot to upkeep. And for y'all to do that is like a bi-weekly type of thing, or monthly, correct me if I'm wrong, process as far as keeping that shade of blonde and keeping that upkeep can be very expensive. So I think that a lot of it is how she's comfortable presenting herself in one way, and if she doesn't meet the mark, then I think that's where the insecurities might start to creep up. And I think that if we're playing into maybe her concerns of Allan and the optics, I think it can be 2 things. I think that you're attracted to who you're attracted to. Your type is your type. I think that she's probably into the gym bros who are kind of
more muscular?
No, it's more I forget the name of it, but Ryan Seacrest is him.
You asking me about Ryan Seacrest? I don't watch Ryan Seacrest. I don't even know what that means.
Basically, the men who upkeep their hair and their grooming and all those types of things. I can't think of the word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I think that she's into that type of guy, and for Allan not to be that, I think it is an attraction issue, but it could be an optic issue of, I'm not usually seen with somebody like this as my partner.
Well, who, ugly?
No, metrosexual.
Okay.
I think she's more into metrosexual buff kind of dudes.
Okay.
Is what I'm gathering, which is David isn't quite that.
No, he's not at all.
But I will say David has a pretty face.
How will we know? Because
no, I'm saying I see his face.
Based on what y'all tell us and based on what you tell me, he needs to shave the beard. So how would David is the complete opposite of that metrosexual thing that like you talking about. David's more of like a caveman. Like if there's anything, David's a bodybuilder.
But he is prettier. You don't think? Well, I guess you can't tell me. But I'm just saying, like, me, David, just in his
David's
face,
more masculine to me.
But in the face, he's a prettier type of guy.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Put it like this, Alan. Sorry, you know what I'm saying.
And I'm not saying Alan is unattractive. But I'm just saying David has that prettiness.
But I'm saying this.
Yeah,
we're comparing two bad options in. I'm
talking about optics strictly.
But I'm talking about we are comparing two bad options to the definition of pretty boy. I would disqualify both of them of the definition of what we believe a pretty boy is, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, Alan's not the definition of the pretty boy, right? Even though David may have a better face, he's also not a pretty boy. So it's like, I'm kind of, huh?
I mean, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's kind of like, I get what you're saying, that she may be into that type. But then I would ask, then why are you talking to David allegedly outside of he just looks better than Alan? Like that's the or he's cooler than Alan. You get what I'm saying? He don't quote Bill Shakespeare. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think Alan's pretty cool, but I do think that David is just more of her typical physical type.
Okay.
And I would say Alan probably isn't so much. And I also think what doesn't help Alan is that he does kind of have this sense of, oh my gosh, she's so hot, she's so amazing, and all these things. And he's like nervous a little bit around her. And I think she likes someone who wants to take control.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people here, like. A lot of people are dealing with their past, and that's why they worry about optics in their present. Like Michelle talking about some lunch ticket when she was a kid, and that, oh my gosh, like people gonna know I'm poor because I'm not supposed to be poor. It's like okay, cool. So now she's worried about the optics. That's why she's willing to pay for this 1-bedroom apartment in this expensive area of Chicago, where she could probably get that same apartment for cheaper. But guess what? It could look like I got money when I walk around and see people. You know, it's all about the optics, right?
Yeah.
Camille, you know, that chain and those earrings and things like that. You know, I do like the earrings, right? It just like it's the optics, right? I want to see Madison baby pictures and her high school pictures. I want to see, was she an ugly duckling that turned beautiful, right? And I want to know, because my thing is, it is very common, right? And don't y'all say this in the comments, because I'll tell you, I'll block you today. It is very common for the woman to look a lot better than the guy in a relationship. More times than not, right? So that's why I'm like, okay, he's not. That's why that term pretty boy is very specific, because pretty boys walk around like they know they pretty. Like they know they are the prize. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's, even though it is an attraction issue, I think it's also, to your point, an optics issue, right? Because the pretty boy, he is the prize. And maybe when I was growing up, outside of my childhood trauma that Dr. Pepper got us talking about, maybe I wasn't as good looking. Maybe I had to get into the gym. Maybe I had to do this to my hair, the upkeep and things like that. And now I can be with someone that is the pretty boy who can offset how I feel on the inside and maybe how I looked in the past. And they can be pretty for both of us. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I need to see Madison baby pictures. Well, not baby pictures, but high school pictures. Because usually this is her saying she wants a pretty boy and things of that nature and being into these type of guys. Those are usually symptoms of someone who was an ugly duckling and they finally like grew until they like a late bloomer. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, Madison's not ugly outside of how she treats Alan and things of that nature. But it's like, you be into the pretty boy, and Alan cannot be beautiful or good looking enough for both of y'all. And I don't think you feel confident enough to be the prize. So you always going after the guy that, based on what she said about going after the pretty boy, that is the prize. And it's like, I can understand that Alan is corny. I can understand Alan and all these things. But you were saying that on the second day. You get what I'm saying? You didn't even give him enough chance to even prove himself. And you were just giving him these fake goals, these fake achievements that if he just give you compliments, talk about how beautiful you are, then you will actually open up. But we got 3 weeks left.
Yeah, and the only thing else I want to say is I seen the preview was Alan kicking the cabinets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that sucks, because I hope she's not doing you dirty, which I definitely think she's doing 100%. You dirty. 100% think she's doing you dirty. Mm-hmm. But, oh, man, I'm like, Alan, this girl don't like you. Mm-hmm. And, like, please, like, don't let... That's why, like, what gets me with the experts and all this type of stuff is, like, I hate to see people come out worse than they were when they went in, and now they have all these types of, like, insecurities and anger and hang-ups and stuff like that. And I saw how upset he was, and don't get me wrong, shoot, I'd be probably kicking cabinets if I heard something happen too. So, and I don't blame him for that, but I just hope that he finds a way out of this to come better on the other side. Yeah. And I will say, in the after party, like, I think he seems to be okay. Yeah. So I hope that's true.
To your point, like, the way he's crashing out on camera, that shouldn't be happening on a show with experts.
Right.
I mean, like we and
somebody help the man.
And what I'm saying is it's not that he can't crash out. I'm just saying, if the experts was more hands-on, right, a crash out and basically an explosion of emotions is basically because you suppressed it enough and there's enough pressure that you crash out, right? Mm-hmm. But if the experts was more hands-on with dealing with the current things, not so much the childhood past things, and dealing with the everyday issues of these relationships, there will be a basically a release valve of every time you deal with the experts, to where it won't be suppressed as much.
Right.
But he's over here, what's the word? Breaking his back, which I give Alan flack about, bending backwards, basically being the pushover that he's accused of being. I've been complimenting, I've been doing this, I've been going to the gym, I've been doing this, while giving Madison nothing to, like, reach for. You get what I'm saying? Oh, it's cool if you don't come back the first night, even though my friend just died, and I'm just here alone thinking about my friend. It's just like, and then when she come back, it's like, it's no big deal, and you don't even bring it up for the first counseling. It's like, okay, Alan, it's like, there are people who are adult bullies, and there are people who, like, see the weak and they, like, basically take advantage of them. That is a realistic thing, and it don't have to be motivated by something that you do. It's just something that they do.
And sometimes people take kindness for weakness.
Exactly.
And so I think that Alan, just the way that he's carried and shown himself, I think that he seems to be like a pretty chill, cool, level-headed individual. And some people do take kindness for weakness. And I think Madison.
I like that. Madness Madison. I like that.
She might be taking advantage of your kindness, and I hate to see that.
She is taking advantage of his kindness, and unfortunately, in the world of men, and how we talk in our caveman language, it is weakness. You get what I'm saying? It is weakness when you show kindness as a man, right? You showing kindness, and that person is taking advantage of it, and then when it's time to speak up, you don't, right? Like, so it's like, we see what it looks like for a man to be passive. We see it catchy. Dude, you get what I'm saying? We see the sassiness. You get what I'm saying? We see the twos. You get what I'm saying? And that doesn't look good on a man. It don't look good on an adult at that.
True.
But on a man, it looks even crazier. So that's why I commend Alan for actually having the actual courage to speak up, even though there's 3 weeks left. And even when he spoke up, he was pushed along, right? But even then, I understand it's the experts and you want to give the trust to the experts. I just wish he would have spoke up earlier. You get what I'm saying? Because Madness Madison been running mad on him, but she just better at it. She just doing magic tricks. Like, you don't see it, because every now and then she basically giving him little crumbs and she take it back. And it's weird. It's that's why I'm like, I think she's worried about optics. I think it's always, whenever I see issues like this, it's always a personal problem. And I'm just stuck on that pretty boy. I'm usually into pretty boys and things like that. That's usually what Camille used to say too, like, you're not the type of guy that I would go for. Well, guess what? Where did that land you?
Right.
It landed you on Married at First Sight. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Where we talking about you.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, it's something about that, and I think Madison feels like Alan cannot contribute to her optics. You get what I'm saying? Because he don't talk cool enough, and he don't dress good enough, even though they both make a lot of money. You get what I'm saying? Anything else?
That's all I got.
Listen here, man. Make sure y'all watch tonight Married at First Sight on the show. We are going to review Madison, Married at First Sight tomorrow, right? I think tonight is going to be a great episode. I think tonight's going to be one of those episodes that's going to go down in history. I hope so. Really do. I hope it's the episode where Allan's punching the cat. I'm like, thank you, punch something.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Not a person. And not yourself.
Yeah.
Don't hurt your hand. But yeah, show some outrage, because truth be told, if Allan is the one crashing out in outrage, I have no blame for him. You will hear me come on here tomorrow with no blame for him
because
at all.
What he's going through is outrageous. It is
not at all. Guess what? Even in the trailer with how David is allegedly he is texting other women or basically sexing other women. Guess what? I will come on here and have no blame for David for that at all either. Even though I say, listen here, Michelle is within her right of saying, I don't want to be with someone who live with their mama who ain't got no money. But guess what, Michelle? That does not mean you cannot be decent. You get what I'm saying? And then we got to deal with MM and like a catch you this episode. So definitely check in with us tomorrow. We are watching Married at First Sight tonight. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the episode. Watch the after party too. Because we gonna review that as well. Anything else?
That's it.
Y'all be good.
Bye.